And thank you very much. It's TV3Newsday. That's Sarkodie and Kwame Eugene. A very, very beautiful song they have there. But we told you about a conversation with the present General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, who was also given indication of running again. And yesterday, at a very impressive media launch at the Eliza Hotel, he outlined what he could possibly be doing for and with the party, engaging on experience and expertise, having been the longest serving executive rising from the polling station through the constituency, the region, and onto the national level in many different capacities. John Boadu is my guest. Good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
I like the way you put the brown together.
You see you.
Congratulations to you.
To brighten the day.
Of course. Congratulations to you. Yesterday was your media launch.
Yeah.
Why was it necessary for you to have done it yesterday?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning to your cherished viewers. Since the beginning of the year, you remember by the end of the last year, we held a National Annual Delegates Conference that's climax all the conferences that we've held during the year. And the National Delegates mandated the National Council to set out rules and regulations governing the internal elections of our party. So since February, we've been on. We started with the polling station, organized close to 38,622 polling station elections without the help of any election management organization. Okay. It is an inbuilt capacity of the party. And this was done within 2 weeks. There were a few hitches here and there, and most of these hitches were resolved. As we speak now, we are left with just about, for the polling station, we've done all. We are left with just 4 constituencies that matters are in court, so we've not been able to resolve it. We've done the electoral areas, we uploaded our nomination forms that were creating problems for us. So if you watch, during our election for electoral area court, nobody heard about it at all. The constituency elections also went very well. Just last Sunday, 15 out of the 16 regions of our party held their regional annual delegates conference to elect their regional officers. You also notice that prospective aspirants are going around campaigning all over the place. Unfortunately, I cannot do that. I'm managing the entire process. I'm resolving issues as they come. I'm following up with issues, holding meetings with feuding parties, mediating, making sure that we set the rules and all that. So I couldn't have done that. Having been able to successfully organize from polling station to the regional level, just this week, timelines for the running of the national officers' elections will be given out. So I just used the opportunity to let the Ghanaian people, to let the party people, that I, John Boadu, by the grace of God, if national open nomination, inviting prospective aspirants to contest for the various positions in the party, I will pick form and contest to be maintained as the General Secretary.
And why should your delegates do that?
My delegates should do that because I've been in this party over the years, working at the various levels of the party structures, right from 1996, polling station, constituency secretary, research and election, youth treasurer, youth organizer, director of deputy director of communication, national organizer, general secretary. I pick up the general secretaryship position as in an acting capacity in 2015. We're then having just about 105 parliamentary seats. We put together the campaign team. We structured the campaign. We put together what I call pink sheet tracking system. That track pink sheet right from the production of pink sheet to the last day and after the last day. Said that we are capable. In 2016, we were able to know our results from all polling stations within 12 hours. Never in the history of any political party.
You did that?
Yes, as the General Secretary of the party. Never in the history of any political party has been able to do that. We perfected it in 2020. Said that within 6 hours, we knew about we had 90% of our presidential results. about almost 80% of our parliamentary. So if you realize, all the press conferences that I held, I was on point. I was not the one who holds press conference and say we are in the majority, we are this. No. Because we had a system that was perfect. Since 2018, we are the only party that I know that resource our party on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And it is coming or arising out of the fact that I've worked in this party as constituency secretary, the challenges that I went through raising resources to run the party over the years. I believe that the little that National can do is also to support the regional party, and also to support the National Party in all the activities. Okay. All the activities that you see, constituency elections, regional, it's all funded by the National Party. Okay. Because we don't want to put the burden on the very people who are not paid for working for the party over the years. They are not paid for anything. They are not compensated for anything. So we need to resource them. Beyond that, if you check the 2020 election, never in the history of our party have we resourced our party the way we resource them. So you realize that over the years, as we speak now, immediately after the national elections, our training institute will be on.
You're going to have a training institute?
Yes, we're going to have a training institute.
With an NPP ideology?
With the NPP ideology, with the center-right ideology, taking our party through orientation of what their challenges are, what their position, their
so that
roles
people
are.
at the grassroots level, every level will
have the opportunity to be taken through the rudiments of politics, what the NPP stands for.
Why do you want to do that?
We've come of age. If you recall, we are the only center-right political party in this country. And we're a center-right political party not because of convenience, but because we believe in it. As far back as 1949, 1950, our party's ideology was center-right, you understand? And this is an ideology that has triumphed over all ideologies in the world. We have sister parties in the world. Right. When we travel around, we see how training institutes are used to train party people, to let them understand what they stand for, to let them appreciate government policies and be able to lead in pushing government policies and all that. We've done that. We've formed the Governing Council. Professor Michael Quay has been chosen as the chairman of the Governing Council and other teams. I think that so far, our party is one of the most organized party anywhere.
The NDC will disagree with you.
On what basis? Look, last year, can you point out 2 events of the NDC apart from holding press conferences? 2 major political organization events of the NDC. You can't. You understand? But I can tell you, we organized, apart from going out, the National Party itself went out to meet constituency officers to know at first hand what were the reasons for our successes, what were the reasons for our challenges in constituencies. Beyond that, we had put together a Safumafo committee to do a diagnosis of what went on in the year 2020.
But you had a pink sheet tracking system in 2016 that helped you win a lot more seats. You had 169 from 105. And then in 2020, the numbers dropped. You have been blamed for it.
Anybody that blames for it doesn't even know how the party system works.
Okay, explain.
In 2016, like I told you, we moved the parliamentary seats of our party from 105 to 169. Right. We snatched 55 parliamentary seats from the NDC. Out of the 55 parliamentary seats, 23 of them we lost the presidential. What it means is that we benefited from skirt and blouse from our opponents. Right. What it also means is that the moment our opponent put their house together, we'll lose those seats. So, for instance, a constituency like Lojokuku, we won from a deficit of 13,000, but still lost the presidential by over 10,000. So, any mediation by the NDC, they get it back. If you take the Kumfi, as a result of NDC's parliamentarian losing the primaries, a lot of NDC people joined us.
Right.
So the moment they decide to go by, you lose it. If you take Laura, there are lots of
But these are
examples
places that you have done, you have footprints there. For example, in Nekomfi, you have the fruit juice factory. In Lejokuku, you're building a WAF. Along the coast, you're doing all of these great stuff, somebody would say politically. Why would you still lose the seats?
Then you ask yourself, why will even an opposition party win a seat? Winning election is not only about development that you've offered to the people.
Okay.
Sometimes even the development itself may be the reason why you lose the elections. I remember this constituency, Catherine Afeku's constituency, Evaluate. You know what the citizens were saying there? They are building sea defense. They said, these NPP people, you are wicked.
Why?
Look at the stones that you are putting in this water to block the sea. We don't have roads there. These stones could build about 400 times of the roads that we need in this city. So even look at the investment that went in there. That investment alone is the reason why we lost.
They wanted roads.
They wanted roads.
But they didn't see the need
they didn't see the need
to block the sea
from taking over their lands. You see, so sometimes a major decision by government, which in itself is to help the overall goal and benefit to the nation. For instance, the issue about president's decision to clamp down on Galamsey. The overall effect is clean environment for us, clean water and all. But all those areas that the task force implemented this decision to the latter, we lost all those areas because that's the livelihood of the people. If you take the coastal areas, you realize that it has to do with premixed fuel and issues surrounding it. So sometimes the more you even offer the development, depending on the benefits, instant benefits of the people, you may not even get the result. But in the long run, for instance, our decision to rationalize the banking sector led to a lot of people not losing their resources, but some people lost their jobs.
That's right.
But the overall effect is that if we had not done so, we'll break down.
And you pay dearly for it.
Yes, obviously. You lose in the long run. A good majority of people working in the banking sector, people will lose their incomes, people will lose their savings. So even the loss that we lost, the greater effect is that we have a system working. So
if Job Boadu is not blamable for the seats that you lost, collectively, who should we hold accountable for?
Collectively is a party. Because you see, one thing about the running of the party is that all decisions emanate from either the steering committee or the National Executive Committee or the National Council. Strangely enough, all of us, people are talking, oh, we impose candidates. If you care to know, even in Greater Accra, in constituencies that we did competitive elections there, were the constituencies that we lost.
Really? But you had a plan. You had orphan constituencies and all of that.
Let me tell you. Tema East, we had a competitive election there, we lost. Crowell, we had competitive elections, we lost.
Right.
Lejokuku, we had competitive election, we lost. Ladade Kotovo, we had competitive election, we lost. Kole Klote, competitive election, we lost. Ablekuma South, competitive election. Do competitive election. You understand?
I get it.
Those that we didn't have competitive, comparatively, we won them. One thing you must also know is that we manage the party. There are instances that there is the need for you to decide to go certain direction.
Okay.
If not, you are going to lose.
Even if the party is not happy, the delegates are not happy about it.
Sometimes you don't leave it with the delegates. Sometimes you can have a candidate who is capable of winning the delegates election, but may not have the gravitas to win the general elections. So as a party, you need to be very careful and cautious about these things and take decisions that the overall benefit will be for the party.
You will be a standalone because all your compatriots who are with you as national executive either not contesting or are finding new ground, changing positions. And some say, well, you have served the party. NPP is 26 this year. You have served the party well enough. Why do you still want to be there? To be general secretary? Why are you also not moving on?
It is the reason why my team and good number of our party people feel that we are going into a critical election, an election that we want to achieve something that has never been achieved before since 1992. Right. You have a new running mate, you have a new flag bearer, you have a new chairman, you have a new organizer, you have a new youth organizer, you have a new treasurer. Right. Then the fulcrum, the center that holds all these as the general secretary is also new. How are you going to prosecute such campaign? Particularly, and Fredowari yesterday made a profound statement that we finished the national election in July. It will take 2-3 months before we will put together a national executive, national council. But there must be a new arrangement for it. Even your understanding of how national council is put together is another matter. Right. And there are ways. You see the constitution like that, its implementation is different. Because there are the spirits behind some of these. And the spirits informs what we must do. And we have a way of getting national council to get us to implement the spirit without looking at what is
So you're talking experience?
Yes. It will take you about 3 months to put that together. If you start the process of presidential, that is around 6 months when you are in opposition, 3 months when you are in government. If you are not lucky and there are more than 5, you do a special college elections before. If you are not very careful and you don't have the experience in managing these things, it will take you about 1 year from September. You are talking about 2023 September. You organize parliamentary primaries. If you organize late that year or early that year, you just have 6 months to prosecute the campaign for such a critical elections. You've lost. And you say it will take your experience to achieve this? It will take my experience and the experience of the new ones that will come. We obviously have 1 or 2, like for instance, the National Women Organizer will be there, all things being equal. The National Youth Organizer is assuming a new role. You need to be tutored into the role. We have some vice chairpersons who, some of them may be around, but they need that pivot to be able to
looks like you have in your mental picture the kinds of people you want to be part of the executive.
Oh, I'm only giving you probabilities. You understand?
Nana Boachi is assuming a new role.
I'm saying
that's more like an elevation that you endorse.
Yeah, I'm saying that if he wins, he will be there. Okay. You understand? For instance, the National Women Organizer, I don't see a major contest there. She will be there. You only have a new treasurer, a new chairman, and all that.
Do you see major contests for you? Charles Bisu, Justin Kodria, they're coming for your role.
I go into an election with the maximum of Ofansa. Do you know Ofansa?
Right, the footballer.
Ofansa says that if his son have the confidence to put on jersey and meet him on the field, he will play with him like he's co-equal. So I don't take anything for granted at all in an election. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter who is contesting. If even it is President Kufuor, I go into the election as if I'm contesting Clinton. You understand? So I don't look at the competitors and say that, oh, these people are weak. So no.
Will they be trouble for you?
Oh, no, not really. Just as I told you, it looks unsurmountable. In the year 2000, Rawlings being the president and the kind of resources they had, ACDR and all that. We didn't have the resources, but putting together a good strategy in the year 2001. In 2016, the party was crisis-ridden, almost virtually on the brink of collapse. Almost every day, one trouble or the other, fight at the headquarters. Thankfully, when I took over, things calmed down. We managed to put our act together. We managed to revitalize and reorganize the party. We managed to get, you see, one thing that people don't know that we did, that is fantastic. And sometimes it's God's divine intervention.
Okay.
When I was general secretary, most often, if you see regional secretaries and organizers, there seemed to be a bit of conflict about roles.
Right.
Fortunately for me, I was the general secretary and also the national organizer and also the general secretary. So I had the opportunity to bring them together.
Okay.
So it afforded me the opportunity to even have joint meetings with them. That harmonized and brought peace in our regional arrangement and encouraged them to do so at the constituency level. In 2016 and 2020, we introduced what we call the V16. We had this experience from our interaction with Conservative Party in the UK.
Okay.
They normally have what they call voluntary group, that's members of their party who don't have time to do active politics.
Right.
May have 1 hour, 2 hours, and they use them. They have what they call a control room.
Okay.
They are there. They have numbers of all voters in the country. They know who votes for them, who doesn't vote for them, depending on what their view is. And they give you what they want you to tell them.
Okay.
And that's exactly what we also implemented.
I see. Yesterday, you had quite an array of party abrachi at your launch. Professor Michael Quay, Right Honorable Speaker, was there. You had Nana Kumia, who has been, a stalwart of the NPP. You had ministers, you had MPs, you had Bernardo Koboy, you had Efrifa, Pukwasi Amasaman, quite a number of people. But significantly, you had Mr. Fred Owari, who, if you will, is a shadow campaign manager for Dr. Bawumia. Would you say that was an endorsement from the Bawumia
You
campaign?
forgot to add Joe Gatti.
Joe Gatti,
who
right.
himself wants to contest.
Wants to contest for the presidency.
Yeah.
So I'm asking now, Fred Owari's presence at your media launch, is that an endorsement?
You see, all the people you saw there are people that have had one relationship or the other with.
Okay.
I can pick them one by one and tell you the relationship I've had with them. I wanted to do something yesterday. I wanted to put my speech aside, which virtually I did in most cases, and pick the individuals one by one and tell a story about them. You will see in it the history of the party. I've had long-standing relationship with Professor Michael Quay. I've been working with him behind the scenes on a lot of constitutional matters in our party.
Right.
I do that often. I go to him early in the morning.
Okay.
We had discussed, sometimes we have discussed for 4 or 5 hours.
To go and tap into constitutional knowledge.
Constitutional knowledge, the party arrangement, what needs to be done, and we do that all behind the scenes. Okoboy, this is a young guy who became a parliamentarian, and it was my responsibility because of what I know about the constituency. That constituency, anytime the NDC gets angry with their parliamentary candidate is when we win. We've only won twice.
Okay.
We won in 2004 and
2016.
Yeah, and they are the only times that we've been able to win that constituency. So it's a constituency that its management is good. The numbers are huge. It's a young man. So I was putting in a lot of support for him in order to ensure that we can salvage the victory that he had in 2016. If you pick Fred Owari, he's from Central Mankasim. I've had that relation. He used to be first vice chairman of the party. I was then the director of communication, deputy director of communication.
But is that an endorsement from the Bawumia campaign?
Everybody there endorses me. Everybody you saw there endorses. Akumia, for instance, when he was director of communication, I was his deputy.
Okay.
So we worked together for close to 4 years.
So it's not to say John Boadu has been singled out?
No. It's a relationship I've had with them over years. And you can see there are a good number of people in the crowd that you didn't see. Somebody like Nanka Bruce.
Nanka Bruce as well, I saw him.
He represented the party by signing on behalf of the party when we were registering the party. You saw the person who chaired. Kalim, Alhaji Kalim. We call him business. He's one of the few people. And for him, his name appeared twice. He represented Tamale as the one who signed on behalf of the party in 1992. And again, he was a member of the National Executive Committee, meaning that he acted as a chairman of the region.
So essentially, you have a broad network. That's what you're saying.
It's only a symptom of my character in the party. It's what you saw there. Then you can see the young people as well, the youth. Kumasi alone, about almost 25 secretaries came, organizers, youth. I have to stop a lot of them from coming.
Really?
I have to stop because the whole thing was expected to be a media campaign launch. But when my people heard it, they said they want to be there. They want to show. Look at the regional chairman that came. Even when we
Divine
finished,
Agohom was there.
even when after we finished, not knowing the Western North chairman was in the crowd. He said he found it very difficult to enter. He just wanted to be there to speak. These are people that have been working together. These are people that have been supporting behind the scenes. These are people that have been mentoring over the years. And there are people who have mentored me. Lord Comey, for instance, was somebody that I worked with. I was his campaign manager when he was contesting for the national organizer position. I worked with him. I worked with him under him as the national youth organizer. And I've been working with him throughout all campaigns from the year 2000 to date. All campaigns from the year 2000 to date. These are the experienced people we've been working with over the years. There are a lot of them. Mark Menu, for instance, had a board meeting. That was why he was not. He was asking me whether I could put it on Zoom so that he can
watch, enjoy,
and Zoom and all that. You see?
So let's wrap up the conversation. Your major arch rivals, the NDC, they are looking at a shake-up within the executive, line. You are going to contest them if you win the slot again. Is it advisable? You don't want to have an all-new set without the old fulcrum. They perhaps want an all-new set. Smart decision?
I don't think they want an all-new set. I'm aware that somebody like the General Secretary, if it is true, wants to be chairman of the party. I'm aware that if it is true, if it's a free Ankara wants to be General Secretary, he and I think Fifi Kwete. These are people who are not new.
And Otokuno as well.
Otokuno, for instance, has been student leadership, been activist of the party for years that I've known him. Free Ankara had been Deputy General Secretary, had been Minister, Director of Elections. These are not new people. I've been working with right from school days. Free Ankara used to be our SRC secretary on campus. He used to be our SRC secretary
at Legon.
At Legon, And he's a strong character, very, very strong character, and believe in what he does, So you are look at somebody like Hudu Yaya. He was the first general secretary of the party from 92 to 2002. He's still one of their vice chairpersons. And you're also putting together a team. You put together an entirely
new team.
I don't think that...
You think you'll be shooting yourselves in the foot?
Obviously, I believe so.
So then it takes me to breaking the 8. I heard you on the platform when NPP 1025. You were very confident about it. You've seen the regional elections. Does it inspire that confidence of breaking the 8?
I believe so. A good number of experienced party people and younger ones have been blended in the constituency and the regional arrangement. Close to about 80% of our polling station executives are still there. What it means that we need a little training for them to bring them up to scratch on new development dynamics and what needs to be done and all that. We need also to have a stable environment, have an incident-free presidential primaries, and a very good arrangement for our parliamentary primaries. If that is done and done successfully, then on the government side, we need to have collaboration, better collaboration between government and party in terms of its activities and how to disseminate government information to the people. We need to honestly also appraise governments. You know the global situation in the world where oil prices are increasing, the CD to the dollar is falling as a result of increasing in oil prices, and the fact that COVID had also ate into a lot of our expenditure, and also revenues that we expect to get from import are not coming, and export and all that. So the challenges are enormous. You believe, and I think you know, in the year 2020, just about 25 countries posted positive growth. Ghana was one of them, but very, very small. One thing you must realize is that in the year 2020, in COVID period, all governments in power that contested election lost. We are the only ones who won with that margin that we had.
And with you as General Secretary. But again, somebody will say, look, in 2016, you got almost 1 million votes. Then in 2020, it was almost halved. That then raises concerns whether you are the best driver.
The flag bearer of the NDC who won in 2012 with a good majority in Parliament lost the majority to a very tiny minority. He was repeated in 2016. He was repeated in 2020.
But 2020, he bounced back.
He was repeated in 2020.
But he bounced back in 2020. Look at the figures.
It's like
4 million, 6 million.
It's like taking Lotto. 282. If the result is 281,
you have no
there's nothing like nearly to win. Nearly to win. There's nothing like that. The ultimate is to win the presidency.
John, the citizenry, the tone of the citizenry, I'm sure you've been monitoring government's own admission that times are hard. COVID, Russia, Ukraine, largely. But people say there's also wastage. There's also mismanagement. There's questions of corruption. Felicia Tete in the mix, Achimota lands. Sakumon or Ramsar site, all of those things. People think they come to hurt the government and that it will give you an uphill task if you want to really break the eight.
I think it's a fair comment to make. Things are difficult all over the world to the extent that as we speak now, you cannot buy more than 2 toilet rolls in Germany. It is rationed. You understand? It's not available. Even if you have the money, you can't get it. So as a developing country, the toll will even be higher and harsher on the people than it used to be. We must be frank about that. Issues about corruption that you cannot run away with. You see, one thing, like you mentioned, the Achimota forest. What about it?
Ramsar site. Well, lands scramble for the lands. That's according to the reports we are getting.
You see, let's get it straight. Government acquires land from individuals for a purpose. If government decide not to use it for the purpose for which he acquired the land, government need to go to the original owners, either give it back or give some part of it and all that. And this is normal process. If the owners who legally gets back their land decide to sell to Johnny Hughes, Johnny Hughes buys the land. He's either a politician, a business, and what has Johnny Hughes done? Nothing. So we must put this discussion into perspective. I have a huge problem. If you are a minister of lands and you are part of the negotiation in returning lands to original owners, and you end up acquiring some or being dashed some per the arrangement, it is conflict of interest. Straightforward.
I see.
So we must be able to distinguish between, for instance, assuming, as per the discussion, John Boadu, I don't work in lands department, I'm not a forestry commission, I'm nowhere. I've heard that there's land at Achimota, and I've gone to buy 100,000 Ghana. And my name appears. Because I'm General Secretary, I've committed a crime.
Well, when your party is spending money to plant trees, and the trees are being cut for the land.
So Johnny Hughes can buy, I cannot buy.
Well, it's a question of morality.
It is not a question of morality. It's a question of propriety. Because the people has been given the land to use. Were they given the land to go and plant trees?
There are 3 schools of thought. No, they were not given.
They were not given. They were given the land to use it for what the planning authority would decide. The distinction is that those who, and I'm sad, seeing aspects of the whole program where you have allocation for protocol. I'm against it.
You're against it.
You see, I'm against it also because many of these protocols are individuals who get them and not in the name of the party. We've been looking around looking for land to build our party of new party office. Why wouldn't they have given us one? They collect it, the party is not aware. It's individual benefit. So if we are discussing these issues, we should discuss it dispassionately and single out the individuals because they don't act in the name of the party.
I see.
They act in their individual names. You know, there's this rumors that says that the former lands minister was given 50 acres. 200 plots. How many NDC people did he give any of the plot to? But you see...
He has denied that.
Well, I hope it is true. More so when he's a lawyer. I think he knows the implications. I hope it is true. Assuming it is true. Assuming it is true.
Right.
How many NDC people will get even one plot? But he has used the name of the NDC and NDC government to acquire those.
Well, we cannot independently verify that. So
no, I'm saying that
we're assuming without admitting it's true.
That one,
John,
there's
it looks like a 2-horse race, or if you like, add Jogati to make it a 3-horse race. Dr. Baumia, Alan Tremantin, Jogati. And then there are 3 schools.
I hope you are aware that we've issued our rules and regulations that forbids us in discussing the presidential election until National Council open the floodgate for us to discuss it.
I'm not talking about candidates.
My signature was under that statement.
Okay.
So others can be permitted. I cannot be permitted.
You cannot be permitted to do it. But so I'm not talking about the candidature. I'm talking about schools of thought that have arisen out of that conversation. You have heard stalwarts in your party talk about not having 2 separate people contest, but they should unite. You spoke about unity. Some believe that they should be allowed to contest free and fair. And some say, well, let's try and get some to step down for one person to go. These are 3 strands of the competition.
One thing that I normally say, if you take the structure or the composition, the organogram of the party, there are 3 main people: chairman, secretary, treasurer. Sometimes it is not good to have chairman, secretary, treasurer in harmony.
Okay.
You have accountability.
Okay.
So sometimes it is good to have opposition amongst them in order to have accountability. There are people with different persuasion, different supporters and all that. Sometimes in your bid to do that arrangement, rather results in much bigger problem.
Okay.
Sometimes, you saw Kumasi elections.
I did.
Look at how bitter it was.
Right.
Look at how tense it was. But when the ballot was, assuming they had gone backdoor to say that, oh, let Wuntumi be chairman or Denho be vice chairman, that bitterness will still persist. But when they went into the election and delegate decided, there's calm.
So you will subscribe to making everybody contest and making everybody
I'm
vote.
saying that sometimes that is best.
That is best. If John Boadu doesn't win general secretaryship, will the NPP still win 2024 to break the 8?
This is a leading question. I still remain a NPP person. I still will do what I can do for this party that I've done. I've never requested for any payment or compensation for the work I've done for this party over the years. And I'm not going to do so anytime. You understand? So if I'm not the General Secretary, I become a member of the National Executive National Council. My contribution will always be available for them.
So the NPP will win the election with or without you?
Because when I started as polling station chairman in 1994, I didn't know that I'll end up even have the opportunity
as General Secretary.
Not just General Secretary, to have conversations like this at this national platform. So it is God that has brought me from that obscure place in Choco.
Will John Boadu win the elections?
I'll win the election and win 2024 elections.
By what margins?
For margins, I'll leave it.
You have been a figures man.
I said that.
You were a figures man actually. You did administration and you have served as finance officer at the party.
You see that your attack is the defense of your opponent.
Okay.
You know, the attack is your defense of your opponent. So you must be cautious strategically in how you attack. Sometimes you attack from behind. The German machine, you know, where you have attackers attacking from midfield. It's more dangerous. So let's hold it that.
We should hold it.
Yeah.
John,
but
I wish you well.
I can write it to you somewhere.
I hear you, so that I can keep it. So that if it materializes,
then I come back again.
But you don't want to hazard a guess.
No, I won't do so. Because you see, if you do that, you are taking your delegates for granted.
Right.
I'm going to them. I'm going to sell myself to them again. Let them know what I have done. Let them know where we are. Let them know the direction for victory. And it's going to be a conversation. I'm not going to campaign. I'm going to have conversation with our party people, know their challenges, take note of them. Because it is difficult traversing the whole 275 constituency, even in a year, particularly if you want to do real work. So this is an opportunity for me to take the issues there, take it back, and also after taking it back, come sit down calmly. Because I even have a committee already working with specific constituencies. You understand, doing their needs assessment and doing all kinds of things. By the time we are done, we have a blueprint towards victory in 2020.
I hear you, John. We'll see you after the elections. Maybe we'll have a further conversation.
Thank you
I wish
very
you well.
much. Thank you very much.
That's John Boadu.
Keep it up as well.
Thank you.
Only that, like I told you, don't burn too much for you not to be consumed by your fire.
General is talking about Johnny's Bite. We'll see you after the break. Happy birthday to Graham of St. Joseph the Work Anglican Church. It's your birthday today from all your children, grandchildren. Happy birthday to you. There's more here on New Day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.